Hello again, I am Jim Bob, and welcome back to the Patchwork scenario for the Germany DLC on Railway Empire here on the PS4. We have some points to spend and some innovation points. I'm just going to take a quick double check of our objectives, so see where we are. So the next objective, which we're working towards at the moment, is boosting the area of Hesse, which is our starting territory, to 240,000 inhabitants overall. We need to really focus in on getting Worms up and running to do that. We also need to produce 60 loads of clothing. That's another task that's coming up. We need to start looking on that. So we've got access to wool, I believe. Did we go ahead and buy the territory? Oh no, we didn't buy the territory, did we? We were looking at the Rhineland territory. We never actually went ahead and purchased it. We need to figure out where that's going to go, and I'm thinking Frankfurt might be the place to do it, simply because of the distance there. If we take a quick look at our other cities, we're at 81,000 in Kassel. That's a lot there. Frankfurt is kind of stalling, actually. We've got a museum here. I think we need to get more goods in here to keep this ticking over. We needed more sausage, more beer, sauerkraut, clothing, fruits. There's a whole load of products in there that we could supply that we're not supplying at the moment. We're hoping that the increased freight movement here, we've got some freight pulling in right now, we've got some potatoes coming in, and behind that we've got some sausages. I'm hoping that the increased movement of freight between these two will get Frankfurt back up and running again. We're struggling for beer. Let's just take a look at our production rates. We could expand this territory. I think that's what we're going to do. Sorry, this business. Let's expand this business here. Oops, don't want to demolish. There we go. So we're producing at a faster rate. That should also help boost. You can see we're back to growth again at 61, 62% and increasing with the potatoes coming in, the sausages coming in. And also now being able to start producing a bit more beer a bit faster. That should hopefully continue to expand. And now we've got even more points as well. We've got 2 sets of points, so let's see what we could look at. We can increase ticket prices here. We're one short of getting the new Class F. So we're going to need one more unlock somewhere as a minimum. We could go for primary suspension, increase our number of passenger trains. Let's take a quick look on this side as well. Let's increase our innovation gain for 100 points. That'll open up this whole branch along through here. We could also go with that one there to fast track through to that block. But I'm going to go back and I'm going to add in primary suspension. I think maybe this one. Reduce maintenance requirements. Or increase passengers. Let's go with reduce there. And that extra one there has now unlocked the Class F. So we need 200 points now to be able to buy it, but we have unlocked it. Got a couple of staff popped up as well. A stoker, we'll take that. Don't need the analyst. And let's look at getting some staff on these trains. So we've got that one there. Let's see if we can find the next one. And there we go. So that's 2 of them that have now got speed boost, so they should move a little bit faster. The train's only going back with 1 load of sausage and 1 load of boots. We're not producing enough sauerkraut, it would seem. Yeah, we're going to need to expand this industry as well. Then we've got a chance of being able to build up a small stockpile, which we can then ferry across back to Frankfurt to keep that city growing. That's where our wool is going to be created. So now that we've kind of got those 2 sorted out, let's take a proper look at Worms. Oh, hello. It's our connection bonus here. Oh, it's a big bonus, isn't it? Plus, dairy is something that we could use as well. So we'll get a small station up and running here. I'm going to build this here. Like that, for 2 reasons. Let's get the spacing about right. That should do it. What we can do is we can add a connection here. Put a little bit of a passing loop in. There we go. And we'll signal this. Go across to the other end. Hopefully there'll be enough space for a supply tower here as well, if we need one, but certainly enough to stack a train. Where is my nearest supply tower? This is all the way over there, so having a supply tower over here might be a good idea. We've got space and a halfway point there, look, so if we drop a supply tower in here over the signals, there we go. By doing this, what we can do is, from this direction, we can now ship dairy out this way, and we can also potentially bring it around this way, but we've also got the option potentially of bringing a route out this way around the back, which isn't really necessary for Worms, but if we move down here and we go into Karlsruhe, then it's definitely a way that we could ship dairy out to Karlsruhe, and also down here as well to Freiburg as well. Or even if we move into this territory here, which we will be doing soon, it gives us an option to come around here into Saarbrücken as well. So a nice little quick connection there. Let's add a train in to get some dairy running into Worms. Let's go with the Rhine. Going to get another one up and running as well to run into Frankfurt. There we go. That should be enough. And what else can we get into Worms to boost the production here? Actually, we don't need dairy, do we? Not till we hit 60,000. So we've just put a train in that's not going to do anything. Never mind. We do need potatoes, we need wood, we need meat. We need at least one of those three goods, maybe more, maybe two of them. What do we have nearby that we can drop in there? Not much, unfortunately. Let's get that dairy train and cancel that. There it is. In fact, let's actually change the line. And we'll send it up to Kassel instead. And then from Kassel, we'll run meat through to Worms. Going to need to do some changing on the lines here, make sure that the freight's going on the freight line, just to stop slowing down our express trains. So from the Schulte pit, we need to be going out here, get to Kassel, and we need to be coming back on that line. We go through Frankfurt and then down here. We also need to be on this line as well. And then peeling back up that way to go and pick up more dairy. That'll work. It's a little bit of a long-winded way to do it, but we'll send dairy up to Kassel, which will take it, and then we'll prioritise meat from Kassel to Worms, and then from Worms we need to make sure we're not taking anything back to Schulte pit. So if we do that, set that as a freight train, which is going to cancel all of my amendments here, isn't it? Yeah. Prioritise meat. Okay, there we go. So that train is now on its way back. We don't need that mine. I'm also going to duplicate that train as well. Get that up and running now. Because it's a long run, so we'll need at least a couple of trains. Plus there's going to be a bit of delay getting through here, I think, before it can get the next train out. So They won't be quite properly staggered, but it'll at least boost us nicely. Worms is starting to improve a little bit. It's had some meat from somewhere. We must have a meat connection already. Where's that come from? What freight do I have going in? It's just... I've got no freight going in at the moment. So I've got my 2 Sholto Pit trains. Oh wait, Halbach Hollow to Worms. Let's take a look at that line. Ah, I see. So we've already got a train that's dropping meat off there and is then picking up... Ah, okay. So we've got a similar kind of route. That's good. That'll give us a nice, good staggering of a meat delivery. That works. That works out fine. We're almost up to the point where we can afford to buy this next territory as well, but buy the Rhineland. Just need a little bit more cash. I want to make sure our businesses are doing well first, though, as well. We're still not producing enough alcohol. Unless it's being shipped. Might be being shipped. Pastries... Oh, they're okay. What's our other situation looking like? Plenty of leather boots, look. Lots and lots of goods that they want that they're just not getting at the moment. Alright, what other food can we take in there? We've got a connection here. Let's bring fruit into the mix. So if I bring a connection to about here, like that, what's the gradient like? Sometimes when you're doing these cross-track gradients, it does mean you end up, for some reason, with a very steep gradient on the other side. I don't know why it keeps doing that. Let's get rid of that bridge. Sometimes it just needs a little bit of fine-tuning to get rid of that angle. That's got it at 5%, which is still way too steep. Yeah, it's just not going to change, is it? So, it's the angle at which we're crossing that track. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to squeeze this all in. If I go on the edge of the line there, that might be better. Yeah, that works. There we go. By crossing the end line as opposed to the middle line there. I'm trying to get this at such a way that I'm not going to interfere with these signals, and it also gives me the ability to put another siding or another set of points just here to connect to this bottom line, so that either of our two our two freight lines can then come out this way. Because you can't do, unfortunately, you can't do 2 tracks cutting across, running parallel like this, and then joining the bottom 2 lines here. It just doesn't like that. So you have to kind of compensate for that by doing it as a stagger, so you have a single line coming out, and then at this point, that is when you can then go back to, 2 lines over here. So you have a little bit of a kind of a one line crossing before going back to a twin line on the other side of it. So we do that. And then here we can do the same thing as well, so we can send fruit out that way. So I'm going to need to curve this around. And there you can see there's that gradient thing again. Just try and tweak that ever so slightly. It'll be really fiddly. Sometimes, there we go. Oh no, it's just switched the gradient problem. Takes a little bit of finagling. That looks to be the best we can get it, really, I think. So if we do that, and do that, and again, I want to try and keep everything contained within one block of signals. Just makes things easier. I've got a broken connection over here. Yeah, that's not worked at all. Let's try it from here. Now we've got a 13% gradient. Just give it a bit of a tweak. Get that down to 6%, but it's still a problem over here. How's that? Yeah, that works. Now hopefully this won't break our line over here. And it has done. That's okay. If I take that whole line out. Rebuild the connection. And then try and do the same over here. And then the same here as well. I have to put a slight kink in the line there, but that's okay. I can live with that. And then that slight kink in the line actually might cause us a problem over here. It has. Alright, let's take the loop out so we can stay parallel all the way through there. And there you can see it now shadows that kink, and then hopefully there we go. That's what I was looking for. The ability to bring that out there like that, and then bring it around, and then bring that in just before the junction. There we go. Good stuff. So we can now ship fruit in either direction and also connect directly to our freight line. So we need to signal this. And here as well. And here. There we go. And then over here as well. And then we'll auto space our signals along there. Take that one out. think I might possibly put a supply tower in just here. Let's see. Yeah, let's put a supply tower in just there. Because again, anything coming in on this line here or this line here is going to be just an engine. So there's space there for it to pull up there and not block our junction here. Whereas anything coming out of here and that needs to use the supply tower is going to have a wagon load of fruit behind it. So it needs to fit in that gap to not block this set of points just here. That should be okay spacing wise. And it's a bit of a trek, as you can see, to the supply tower all the way over there. A little bit of a trek to the supply tower over there. So it just gives us a backup option. Let's get a couple of trains running over there. And again, this will help keep Frankfurt growing. So you can see there we're going in through the right line there. I need to change my signals over here somewhere. Yes, there we go. That needs to change. Rail line. So if I get rid of Frankfurt for a second and put that back in, now you can see we're running on the freight line down here, then it'll cross over the express lines and go back to Timmerman Farm as well. So let's put a Rhine on that. Let's do the same over here into Kassel. So again, you can see running on the freight lines, crosses over the express lines through the passing section and into Timmerman Farm. And again, we'll put a Rhine on that too. There we go. So that's a fruit delivery for Frankfurt. Worms is still growing. That's good. Up to 31,500. Some potatoes would perhaps be a good idea as well. We've got potatoes all the way over here at Nordman. It's a long run, but it is something that we do kind of need to do to make sure that we're promoting, you know, growth throughout the city. There we go. And let's get an engineer with a speed boost on that train, because it is a long route. Make sure I've got a maintenance shed here. Yes, I do. I'm going to put one here as well, if I haven't got one already. There we go. And again, we're still sitting at around the million mark point, so we're still just a little short of getting access to this territory here. Of course, when we start moving into these cities, that's going to cause some issues. What else do we need to do? Need to get that clothing up and running. Secure access to 6 areas. We've got 2 at the moment. And get 750,000 people on the railway network. And these are just our starting tasks. We're almost certainly going to have another page of tasks once we've done these. That's what we've seen in the past, where we thought we were done and turns out we were nowhere near. So, yeah. Got some points to spend. Waiting on this, the Class F. Actually, I'm just wondering if that's actually a better train for us to go for. Yeah, I think we'll get this next, accelerate the maintenance and then start working up through these sections here to reduce costs of building things. You know, the Class F isn't that much more of a step forward on what we're doing at the moment. It's got more tractive power, but because we're keeping our gradients pretty controlled, the speed is a little bit more useful than the increase in tractive power. So our Rhine is actually slightly better for us at this stage. Let's put a security guard on this train as well. Boost the income. Got some sauerkraut on its way over there to Kassel. Oh, Kassel's hit 90,000, so we can put a new business in here. Okay, what do we want to put in here? We can do a distillery, actually. Yes, let's do a distillery. place that there. It's only going to produce 0.8 per week, so that's going to need to be expanded. You know, at least once, maybe twice. Where's my fruit train? There it is. We're going to duplicate that now. Get 2 trains running in here now that we need it just as a commodity and also as an ingredient for our distillery. We should probably look at buying this as well, because we're going to be churning out a lot of fruit. We'll stand to make quite a bit of cash from this. There we go. So you can see they're making 3,000 profit per week in the short time that it's been operating. In terms of us sending fruit out, it's made 16,000. So that's good. That's really helpful. Oh, I've got a bid. We're still not getting competition from the others yet, which is another reason why I'm pretty sure that we're going to have to expect a lot more tasks, because we're not competing directly with anyone yet. So I don't know if that's only going to happen when we go into their territory, or if we reach a certain point in the scenario, and then all of a sudden all of them become active. We'll have to wait and see how that works. But what I want to try and do is, while we're not being competed with, I want to try and grab as many businesses as I possibly can to bring in as much revenue as possible, as quickly as possible. So we've got a few businesses over here that we can certainly add to our portfolio. You can see we don't own the bakery in Worms. There's no real need to at this stage. We own everything in Castle, and it's producing a lot of income for us. We need to probably increase our pig farm again. It's going to cost us 800,000. Do we actually own the supply of pigs? Yes, we do. They've got plenty of pigs waiting. There's not enough trains, so we need another pig train. As the demand for meat keeps increasing, we need to increase the amount of traffic on the line. And you can see it's already quite busy because we're shipping salt in there as well. Are we putting in enough salt into the city? Just about enough. Probably do with more potatoes at some point as well. How many potato trains am I running? 2. That's probably enough. How many salt trains am I running? 3 salt trains. That's enough. And then I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pig trains now. That'll be enough, I think, for there. Any more, and that line's just going to start getting too busy. It's going to hold everything else up at this junction. We could possibly even look at maybe adding in a second station here, for rerouting these goods into there. Plus, if we want to connect out to Weimar, then we're certainly going to need a way to ferry stuff in. It might be better for Weimar as a passenger connection to go that way, like that. We could work on Weimar as a city, but at this stage it doesn't really give us any benefit. It's not conducive to working towards our objectives, so I want to keep working on this stuff. Is there a wood supply anywhere nearby? I wonder. What's our beer situation like in here? Still not getting enough hops. Right, where's my hop trains? From Schmidt Breeding, I've got 2 hop trains. And I don't think I'm producing enough hops. Yeah, they're overloaded. We need to purchase this business and expand it. And how much would it cost to upgrade? Another 400,000. We're almost there. Let's take a look at these points. Accelerate our maintenance now, and then next we can go up to here, reduce construction of tunnels, then reduce construction of bridges, then reduce construction of tracks. Those are going to be our next sort of investments point-wise, I think. What else do we have? A new stoker. Kind of want to save those for the long-distance trains. They're either going to improve our reliability or they're going to improve our speed. Put a maintenance shed in there as well. Again, a long journey. Somewhere for our trains to rest up. Keep them active, stop the breakdowns on the lines, hopefully. I just need to get this upgraded to another level. There we go. That's one of my hop trains. I'm going to clone that. There we go. We can store up to 19 bags of hops. And we should start to see them being gathered at a quicker rate. So you can see already we're up to 1 straight away. So it means that there should be at least, you know, half a dozen by the time the next train arrives. That's the plan anyway. Might have to, there's 2. Might have to upgrade it again. But I want to get more beer up and running, because beer is a commodity that we can ship over to Worms. You look, we do have a demand for beer as well as sauerkraut. It's a bit too far for sauerkraut, but we can certainly start shipping beer between the 2 cities. So from Frankfurt, we want to go on that line. There we go. And then change that to freight. Add loco. Stick a line in. Don't know whether that's going to count as a food or not, but we'll add a refrigerator car just in case. You can see we're still not producing enough beer because we haven't had much in the way of raw materials, but we're trying to increase how much raw material we can get in there. And there's another batch there. Oops. Schmidt breeding. There's another one of our hop trains on its way back. How much is that going to have to load up? 6. So that is half a dozen. That's okay. If I can upgrade this, I will do. 800,000 is a bit too pricey, isn't it? We do need to start thinking about getting access to Rhineland, because we need that wool now. We need to start looking to get wool up and running. Why is this slowing down again? Oh, wow, that is a lot of goods still missing. Not getting any meat. We're going to need... I mean, Castle's doing brilliantly, but it's suffering. It's causing suffering for everywhere else. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a small station in. Oh, I've got space. I've got too many businesses there in the way. Ah, that's a problem. I can't squeeze another station in here. Not without demolishing a load of buildings. I mean, I've got a food industry there. I've got my sausage makers there. That's my museum over there. I can't go on that side. I need more freight to go back and forth between the 2 cities. So that's Frankfurt to Kassel. I think I might get rid of the waypoints on that. Put that onto the express line. Just so it's not getting held up at this junction all the time. And we'll do the same with this one as well. Let's deliberately route those onto our express lines, just to make sure that they are going back and forth on a route with less of a hold up at this junction just here. We're feeding too many trains into that line at the moment. Chance to buy a surveyor. Yeah, that'll reduce our building costs of new routes. That's good. I've got an inventor. Let's get some extra innovation points. So we're just over halfway to our next unlock. So there is... oops. Just look and see. There we go. There's one of our freight trains now, look, loading up and exiting on the express line. It might slow our passenger services down a little bit, but at this point we need to get the freight moving. The other one's still here, look. It still hasn't gone through this junction, let alone into the station. So we're definitely making the right decision there, I think. You can see just how many freight trains are stacked up ready and waiting, trying to get in, and just can't. It's too much freight on the line. And there's another one there. I'm going to very quickly remove the waypoints on that one before it leaves the city. Yes, there we go. That's staying on the express line. That's good. Just managed to catch that one in time. So again, it's a little bit less freight. Look how busy our freight line is. It's just trains everywhere. And you can see here our express trains definitely being held up, having to stop at the signals, waiting for the train in front to clear them. But it's a necessary evil, unfortunately. Bahnholzer near Koblenz. It's an iron pit. Yeah, we don't need an iron pit. We don't have access to it yet, but it's not a business that we can really do anything with. Not at this stage, so we'll turn that down. Just know where to make money from it. I had a little bit of growth for a second then here in Frankfurt, and then it stopped again. Still need more hops. Got a spy. Let's steal the technology. Steal from Beatrix again, or Beat. Let's see what we come up with. Something useful, I hope. That is only just leaving now, look. That was the one that was stuck here at the supply tower for ages. It's only now just leaving the station. Again, it just shows how many trains that we've got going in through this section here, especially since we've added in an extra pork train over here. That's 8 trains that we've got on that line there at the moment, going in on that junction. Standardized components. What was standardized components? Is that an older technology? It doesn't look to be. Maybe it's something over here. Ah, there we go. Standardized components. Reduces new loco purchase price by 30%. Very nice. Very nice indeed. I'm starting to think about maybe getting rid of our passenger lines altogether and just going with freight. Do we have any... Well, at the moment we don't have any passenger objectives, but I don't really want to get rid of that, you know, that option. Hesse's getting very, very close to being, you know, 240,000. We're almost there on that one. Still need to work on the clothing. See, Frankfurt is growing again. That's good. That's getting up to 90. When that hits 90, we'll be putting in a tailor's in there. Have I got the money available with a bond? Oh, more than enough, yeah. There we go. Let's pay that one off. There we go. Let's go to territories. I'm going to buy the Rhineland territory. I'm going to buy this while it's at a low value as well. with a lower productivity. Another little kind of tip for you: try not to buy anything that has a current workload of 100%, because if it's, keep an eye on it. If its workload fluctuates, buy it when its workload is really low. If it's at 100%, it's performing, either perfectly efficiently or is overworked and they just can't keep up. In which case, the value is going to be very, very high, because its goods are going to be flying out as soon as they're made, kind of thing. Whereas if it's at a very low workload, it means they're overloaded, they've got too much product, and they're just not selling it. You will find with some of these sort of independent AI ones that their workload will still fluctuate up to 100% and down again, despite it showing that they are fully loaded here. You can see we've got 16 out of 16, but it also does, allow for stuff to be shipped out by wagon, the old horse and cart routine, if there's no rail connection. So you can still end up overpaying for a business at level 1, even if it says it's full. If the workload is high, it means it's still producing and it's still, a high value. So you want to watch it and let it dip down if you can. Some of them won't do that. Some of them will just stay rock solid. But if you do get that opportunity, always buy them when they're at a lower value. You can see the workload going up again because stuff is being shipped out. So this will make us a little bit of cash. Not much, but a little bit. We need this to hit 90 as quickly as possible so that I can drop in the tailors. I also need to put a station in here. I'm just trying to figure out where to route this. I think if we... It's going to have to come in over here. It's going to come in on the express line, I think. But I'm looking to see where I can route the tracks. It looks as though through there is going to be our best bet. So, why position this here? Let's just go here. This gives me the option to maybe go out the other way if necessary. Let's put that there. We'll build the line now while we're waiting for the population to go up. And this needs to come in here. And we want to drag this through that kind of corridor. Where the building costs will be much more manageable. Again, it's going to end up being a long route, so I need to try and streamline it where I can, but at the same time I need to make sure I'm not overdoing it. Need to look to see where I can alter and control the gradient a bit as well. Push that out to there. Bring it in a bit. Let's see if we can tighten this radius up a little bit. There we go. It's not perfect. It's not the best we could definitely do, but it's pretty close, I think. Keeping those costs reasonably low, keeping the gradients under control. That's not too bad. It's not too expensive either, in the grand scheme of things. So let's put the second loop in. Of course, if you're really struggling for cash, then you don't have to duplicate the line all the way across. You could just have a single line and then just have a number of sort of passing points along the line, so that you can kind of just run single track for a bit, and then just have places where trains can pass each other at various points. So have one maybe just here, maybe one sort of just in this stretch here, maybe a small one sort of in here, and then maybe another one just there, and you can save yourself a few thousand by not running dual track all the way around. But I like to run dual track all the way around where I can, just so that I don't have to go back in later and upgrade it as traffic on the line starts to increase. And seeing as we need to produce 60 loads of clothing, we're going to have to produce an awful lot of wool to get that where we need it to be. A vast amount is going to have to be produced. I'm going to want supply towers on either end of the line as well, because again it's a long line. So I want a supply tower over there. We're missing the supply tower over there. We're coming in just past it. So I want another one just here, out of the way, away from the corner. Just there. That should do that. And now we just, as I say, we need to just get Frankfurt a little bit higher. Again, when we're stalling on our commodity production. We just can't keep up with the demands at the moment. They do have a demand for wool, actually, so we can start shipping that in straight away. And we'll put an engineer on that. Where's the station? There it is. I'm going to put a maintenance shed on there. And I'm going to duplicate this train as well, so let's speed time up a little bit. Let it pull away a little bit more. Clone the train. Slow time down again. Put another new engineer on that one. And I want to look at expanding the business. And how is our city over here? It's still not growing, look. So we need to try and get that boosted as much as we can next time out, because we're pretty much out of time. That's it from me. Thanks for watching. I am Jim Bob, and I'll be back with some more of the Patchwork scenario for the Germany DLC on Railway Empire here on the PS4 very soon.